So these are the first calves of the season. We've only bought 5 to begin with. We will do 50, same as previous years. But we decided this year, with my health being sort of getting a bit worse, that we'd sort of do them in smaller batches this time. We'll still do the same amount, but we won't buy sort of 25 in one go. We'll sort of buy 5 or 10 at a time each week. So the first job after getting them home is always trying to get them to drink. Some of them will have been on milk machines, some on the bottle, some on the bucket, some on the cow. The ones that have been on the cow are usually the worst to try and get onto even a bottle, let alone a bucket. Luckily most of these had been on a teat machine, so they knew what a teat was. So the first night most of them had a drink out of the bottle. What I do then to get them off the bottle onto the bucket, which is how I feed all mine, I get them to suck on the teat without the bottle, and then I put it into the bucket and hold the teat inside the milk, so they'll drink the milk sort of with their head in the bucket. That way they sort of get used to having their head in the bucket. And then after they've drunk sort of half of it, I'll take the teat out, and normally they'll go straight into the bucket, then sort of looking for the teat, and then realising they can drink the milk that way, and they'll drink out of the bucket. Within 24 hours we had these four already drinking out of the bucket. The little red limo here, she took 2 days, but now she's to even drink out the bottle it took 2 days. I changed her to a bigger teat, and she drank her milk no trouble at all with the wider teat. Today she has drunk some of her milk out of the bucket, but I'm not that worried, because I think she will get on the bucket pretty quickly. The next thing, after like the first night, getting them settled in their pens, getting them have some warm milk in them, is giving them 7 ml of Alomycin. I do this because they do come from multiple farms. When you're buying from market, depending on how many you buy, here we've got 3 different farms. The 3 brown limos there came from one farm, the Charlie another, and then the red limo from another farm. This way they could be bringing in bugs that they're sort of built up an immunity to, but then their neighbouring calf won't have the same immunity. So this way it just helps kill any bugs or viruses that they may be carrying that they could then pass on to the rest of them. This just gives them a bit of an even sort of start then. And then 2 to 3 days after that, which I'll do on Monday, so they will have been here 5 days then, they'll get their pneumonia vaccine, which is Rispoval intranasal, which is just a little squirt up the nose, and that works pretty quickly to give them obviously their immunity then to pneumonia. I mean, it's not 100%, but it has cut our antibiotic use down by more than half since using the vaccine, and we haven't lost a calf to pneumonia in 2 years. Last year we had very little pneumonia, only 1 or 2 with what I'd call real pneumonia, and that was before we had a chance to give them their vaccine. The rest of them we had the odd little high temperature, but with the vaccine, when they do get a high temperature, we can treat them with Alomycin rather than going for a very expensive antibiotic like Florchem or Resflor, which it works great, but it can be very expensive. Last year we just had 2 that we used Florchem and Metacam on, but apart from that, any sort of high temperatures, which we didn't have that many at all, we treated with Alomycin. Obviously these are all heifers, so we won't need to castrate these, but they will be dehorned in the next 2 weeks, and I use a Adrenocane injected into the sort of between the eye and the horn there, in the nerve, to numb the area. But say the first week, the main thing is getting them drinking well, getting them settled, getting them used to their new routine. And then Wednesday we'll go and buy another batch of 5 or 10, depending on what's there, We're probably going to do mainly heifers again this year, because my heifer bullocks made really good money, in fact top price at market, and they fattened a lot quicker as well. So we fattened them on the grass. We used a lot less corn. As I've said before, I feed corn all year round with the heifers and steers. But yeah, the heifers did fatten that little bit quicker, so we'll probably do more heifers again this year. We also like the limos, the Charlies, Simmentals, maybe a few Herefords as well. So we'll see what's there on the day. But we'll keep going every week until we've got the 50 that we want. And it'll be the same routine again for the next batch that come in. The rest of the pens are already made up here, so they'll go into their pens, and by the time we're on the sort of third or probably about the third lot, these will then be weaned off their milk and they'll get moved into a bigger pen over the other side, all in together on ad lib corn. And as I've said before, I always start mine on calf nuts from day one. They don't eat very much. This one's eaten quite a lot, but they don't eat very much at this age. But it just means when they're being weaned off the milk, they're eating plenty of nuts by that point, so they don't tend to go back at all. And the same, that is the plan for this year. I'll try and do a bit of an update on them every week. Any problems that we might have, any sort of illnesses that we have. My new addition this year, as well as my trolley that my boyfriend built 2 years ago, is my new cleaning tub. And there's the boiler, which means I don't have to stand outside in the rain to wash their buckets out. They get washed out before and after every single milk feed, because I like to keep them as clean as possible. And I have my water boiler, Baby Burko, on a timer plug. So when I come up to the shed mornings and evenings to do their milk feeds, my water is already boiling and ready to use. Another thing I have on all day from morning to evening is the radio. Just quietly, it just helps keep them a bit calmer. They don't then start calling and shouting when they hear somebody outside or hear a vehicle pull up at all. It just helps settle them a little bit more. But as I said, these are doing really well so far.